Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie, and today we're going to do a video that talks a little bit more about being sustainable and being able to grow as much food as possible in a small area. Now, I live in Utah Zone 6/7, and I live in a 1/4 acre property, and I've converted most of it to edible food. I do have a little bit of grass, which I'll show you, and a few ornamental areas, but I've incorporated food just about everywhere. Now, in the last video I did, I went month by month and talked about all the different vegetables that I could harvest, and those were the annual vegetables. What I did not cover were the perennial vegetables. Now, I think perennial vegetables are very important if you want to be sustainable, if you want to grow as much food as possible, and they also make growing food a lot easier. So let's show you the perennial vegetables that I grow and tell you how I use them. Now, we are mid-February and there's not a lot growing, but I wanted to start at the top of my property. The first thing that I actually want to talk about that are perennial, I guess we can't count them as vegetables, but they're herbs, and they really help in sustainability. I have a lot of perennial herbs, and some that act perennial, like my parsley. They're biennial. I let them go to seed, so I never have to plant those, and I always have parsley. Another one that's perennial that you can't see up here is lovage. It dies back over the winter. I've already cut it all back, and it's like a perennial form of celery. The seeds, the roots, the stems, and the leaves are all edible, so it's a very useful plant. Its taste is a lot stronger than celery. Next, I have herbs like lemon balm and mint and all the tea herbs. We have several different varieties of thyme that I use. Those stay semi-evergreen over the winter. Rosemary, this is a hardy ARP variety. This one was planted in 2009 and has died back by probably 3/4. So we've got a new one started here, and we're just going to see if we can get another one growing like this one. We're already seeing winter damage, but rosemary is a good one to have over the winter if you can get it to survive in cold climates. We have several different varieties of sage. Those are also evergreen and come back year after year, are easy care. This is what my winter savory looks like over the winter. Here's one of my patches of oregano. And we also have sorrel, and some people call it lemon spinach. It's got a very lemony, bright flavor. I don't eat a lot of it except for in the spring because it has oxalates in it, which, and I don't know if I pronounced that right, but those can be a little hard on your stomach. So you do need to watch how many you eat. But in the spring, they're absolutely delicious. Now, I grow many more varieties of herbs because herbs are both ornamental and they're edible. They're medicinal. They are absolutely wonderful to grow. And I'll link a playlist that I made that covers each different herb that I grow individually. So there's a lot of them. Maybe I'll put the number of videos that I have on the screen. But there's a lot of different kinds of herbs that you can grow. They're perennials, and they help you work towards sustainability. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about is the tubers, the things that grow underground that are perennial, that come back year after year. Now, a lot of people think about potatoes and carrots. Carrots you need to replant year after year. Potatoes you also need to replant year after year, although you can leave some of their tubers underground. And if you're lucky, they will come back the next year. But I cannot eat potatoes, I can't eat sweet potatoes, and I don't eat as many carrots. So we're not going to talk about those. We're going to talk about what I use as substitute for those. Now, I do substitute winter squash for some of my carbs. Let's talk to you about the tubers that are perennial that I use. Now, this bed right here is chock full of a wonderful vegetable called Jerusalem artichoke. Now, you can harvest these over the winter. You don't harvest them over the spring and summer, so this is a beautiful winter crop. They can store in the ground and will come back each year. The caveat is, though, they are quite invasive. You need to be really careful. The picture I'm going to show you right now is them escaping out from under the bottom of this bed. There were dozens of them all over the place, and I actually had to spray them with glyphosate. I dug out the bed, put weed mat down underneath it, so that they couldn't escape as easily, and then everything that was outside of the bed I did use glyphosate on, because digging them just spread them further. But hopefully this year they'll be a little bit more contained, and let's dig around through there and see if there's any that we can harvest. Now, this is a good time of year for me to harvest them, actually for just this year, because the ground is finally not frozen. We've had several really warm days. The ground has thawed. So I think I'm going to be able to dig in here and bring up some good sized tubers. Now, a little bit later this year, I am going to go through and dig out this bed, because if you don't dig out the bed and just leave them in there, there is a possibility there could become so many of them that they could break the bed. Now this bed might be hard to break, but you never know with these. They're very, very aggressive growers. Now this one looks more like I've seen most normal Jerusalem artichokes. This is a good sized one, and it's going to be really delicious. And we do have also really little tiny ones. So that took about 2 or 3 minutes. I went down about a foot deep, found a bunch of the larger ones down deeper, and I harvested probably a quarter of the bed. This is what I found in 2 minutes in the quarter of the bed. Some of them can be pretty big and different shaped. Some of them can be pretty small, but these are very nutty flavored, sweet and delicious. Now they do cause flatulence, so this year I'm going to try and fermenting them. These are going to be fermented, and we'll see how they turn out. That's supposed to take away the flatulence. So I moved to the top of my garden area to talk about a couple of more tubers that I grow. One of them was an accident that has turned out to be a fantastic accident. The other one's a new experiment that I tried last year that didn't work as well, but I'm hoping works better next year. So let's show you the first one. Now the entire front section of this bed is full of what's called Chinese mountain yam, and I'll put the scientific name on the screen for you. But when I planted it so that I could have the really long, fleshy roots. In Japan, they're called nagaimo. They're kind of mucilaginous, kind of another name for slimy. And they are used quite a bit in Japanese cooking. So that's what I thought I would be able to harvest. But I've had them for 6 years now. I have dug as deep as I can each year. I've never been able to find the roots. Instead, what I end up harvesting are these wonderful little aerial tubers. So these grow along the stems. I'll show you what they look like in the summer. And they just fall off the plant in the fall. There might be some more on the ground here. That's a rock. This is one that's starting to go squishy. But yeah, there's a few more left on the ground here. None of them are harvestable because they're all squishy. But these have stored really, really well in a paper bag in my refrigerator. I harvested them in September. When I cook with them, I use them exactly like potatoes, but a couple of handfuls is like a couple of potatoes, and they taste exactly like potatoes, maybe a tiny bit nuttier. They are very flavorful. They're very flavorful. I just scrub them really clean and just cook with them whole. Now, they only take, like I said, a couple of handfuls is about the amount that I would use in a recipe. Maybe a little more would be a potato. But I've been able to survive on these and use these as potatoes since September. Now, keep in mind, I only use potatoes once every other week. I put them in soups and I'll bake them sometimes. These are a fantastic substitute, and they have a lower glycemic index. So if you can't have a lot of carbs, these are good. Now, the new one that I'm trying that didn't do very well last year, and there's nothing to show for it right now because they're all underground, is a very special one. This is called the Four Corners potato, or Solanum jamesii, and it's a native potato to Utah, southern Utah. Now, I've heard they are winter hardy. The little tubers are winter hardy, and they're really tiny. I'll show you a picture of what I planted. They were a couple of tubers that I got from a friend. They came up last year but didn't grow very well. So I left those in the ground, and I'm hoping that they will come up again next year. We'll see if they do. If they don't, I will try to purchase a few more of the little tubers to see if I can get them to grow. And if they grow well in this pot, maybe I will try another pot. So we covered the tubers, we covered the sorrel, we covered all of the herbs that I use that are perennial. But there's one other leafy green that I grow, and let me show you that one. There's not a lot to see, but I'll show you some pictures of what that looks like. Now this right here, you can see a little bit of a stem that's broken off. The rest of it you can't really see because it's dormant for the winter. But this is sea kale. Now, sea kale is a fantastic hardy vegetable. I think it's hardy from zones 5 through 9, and everything about it is edible. The leaves are edible, the stalks are edible, the flower stalks are edible. Once it actually flowers, it is no longer edible, but it draws in the pollinators, and it has beautiful white flowers. I have never cooked with it. What I do is I just snack on it as I pass. It's very, very easy to take care of. It does like rich, moist soil. And it can take a little bit of shade. Mine's on the north side of the building and it does get some shade. You can take root cuttings or grow it by seed to propagate it. So those are the perennial vegetables that I use to help extend the amount of food that I can grow on my property. They are wonderful things to grow. Like I said, the herbs are absolutely ornamental and gorgeous. Even the sea kale is gorgeous. You can use them as ornamentals and you can use them as edibles. Now, I would love to hear if there are some perennial vegetables that you grow in your area, what they are and how you like to use them. So hopefully this video has been helpful for you. If it has been helpful, I hope you like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.